Good evening, I'm Andrew Chang.
And I'm Adrienne Arsenault. Tonight, millions of Canadians are making travel plans.
I saw the headline and I just started bawling in the parking lot.
The U.S. is dropping its border restrictions, but there are still roadblocks.
It's kind of an impossible situation for a lot of us.
What you need to know if you've gotten mixed vaccine doses.
Scrambling to find safe water in Nunavut's capital.
We were told it was safe until yesterday, so it's kind of frustrating.
Thousands of people told don't trust what's coming out of the taps.
And science fiction becomes reality for one of Starfleet's finest.
I'm so filled with emotion.
William Shatner's poetic response to a moving mission.
Plus, Hillary Clinton and her Canadian writer pal on what it takes to craft a political thriller.
I want to thank you for this book. It has stressed me out for several days.
I love that that's your reaction.
This is The National. During the pandemic, for most Canadians, a drive across the U.S. border has been off the table. Sometime next month, though, that's changing.
Yeah, Canadians will be able to make non-essential trips into the U.S. with just proof of full vaccination. It could change lives, but there's also a lot of fine print. Now, the impact could be massive. In 2019, Canadians made a total of 32.4 million car trips into the United States, and data suggests the pandemic cut that traffic by roughly 90%. But will it come roaring back? Well, consider. It's not clear the new rules will apply to Canadians who mixed doses of two different vaccines. We still don't have an exact date for the reopening, and so far, Canadians will still need a negative COVID test in order to return home. Katie Simpson has more on what we know and how the announcement is already changing more than just travel plans.
Pandemic border restrictions robbed the de Klerk-Musgrave family of so many more moments like this. Mom Jaslyn and daughter Maddie live in Tillsonburg, Ontario, while Dad Thomas lives a 3-hour drive away in Ohio. Forced apart for the vast majority of the pandemic, when Jaslyn learned of the changes, she was instantly overwhelmed.
My phone and I saw the headline and I just started bawling in the parking lot. I couldn't drive anywhere because the tears just wouldn't stop.
Fully vaccinated travelers will be allowed into the U.S. at land and ferry border crossings starting in early November. Proof of vaccination will be required, while there is no requirement for a negative COVID-19 test. Those who had AstraZeneca will likely be included, and a decision on whether to include those with mixed vaccine doses is expected by the end of the month.
So we want to get to that fully reopened state as quickly as we responsibly can, but it's always first going to be guided by doing what's right to beat this pandemic.
Ottawa is now facing pressure to make some major changes of its own to drop the negative COVID test requirement for entry into Canada.
I think it will lead to a lot of Canadians that will be reluctant to come into the United States. So there's a cost associated with that, but it's also an additional administrative step that I think is unnecessary.
Canadians who want to day trip into the U.S. are being told they can get a test in Canada before they leave and use that same test to get back into the country.
We're going to allow that test to remain valid for 72 hours, and that could involve multiple trips.
We're ready for life to restart.
Jaslyn can hardly wait for the border details to be worked out, but is more excited that she finally has some certainty that her 3-year-old daughter will have the chance to get to better know her dad.
Okay, so Katie, we've heard now from Ottawa that COVID tests for returning Canadians will be good for 72 hours. So that should mean you can get a test here if you're looking to go to the U.S. for a day trip. But what if they say longer than that?
A negative PCR test will still be required to get back into Canada. So if a person is out of the country for more than 72 hours, that means they will have to get that test in the U.S. And those can be expensive depending on how quickly you need a result. It can be around $200 American per person. For now, the Canadian policy is not going to be changing either. Andrew.
Katie Simpson, thank you very much.
So those who have mixed doses of vaccines still face a big question mark here. That applies to about 4 million people, not including those in Quebec whose numbers aren't available. As Nisha Patel explains, those would-be travelers are in a kind of limbo, at least for now.
Ingrid White was planning to fly south to visit her Florida vacation home for the first time in 19 months.
It's kind of an impossible situation for a lot of us.
But she's one of millions of Canadians who was vaccinated with 2 different brands, called mixed dose.
We did all the things we were supposed to do in terms of vaccinations, and it's quite a large group of people who are now being penalized for that action.
When the U.S. changes air travel rules next month, it's expected land border rules will follow suit to allow foreign travelers entry with double doses of WHO-approved vaccines. That would include AstraZeneca. But the U.S. hasn't confirmed if that includes people with mixed doses. Back in the spring, Canadian health officials recommended the mixed dose plan. Like many others, Norma Kroback didn't anticipate this problem.
It wasn't on the radar for me, for any of the people getting the mixed vaccines.
She has a $26,000 family vacation booked to the U.S. Virgin Islands. But with more than half the group vaccinated with mixed doses, the trip of a lifetime is in jeopardy.
I'm still hopeful that it'll come to fruition. It would be very sad if it didn't.
The Public Health Agency of Canada says it's in talks with the U.S., making the case that studies show strong protection from mixed doses.
Let's just say we have left no stones unturned.
This doctor says he thinks mixed doses will be accepted eventually.
I don't see them not allowing these people in. It just depends on whether that'll be a later announcement.
Some provinces are offering a 3rd vaccine dose to enable Canadians to travel. Quebec, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Despite the uncertainty, White doesn't regret the mixed dose decision. She's just hoping for clearer waters when she finally gets to Florida. Nisha Patel, CBC News, Toronto.
With just days to go before Quebec's vaccine mandate would have seen thousands of healthcare workers kicked off the job, the government changed course.
We want to give the unvaccinated staff extra time to collect their dose.
More than 20,000 unvaccinated workers faced being let go on Friday. The province said going through with that many suspensions would be too big of a hit on the healthcare system. Workers now have until November the 15th. Saskatchewan is in talks with Ontario about the potential transfer of some of its critical COVID-19 patients. So far, no patients have been sent out of the province, but officials say transfers could happen as early as this week, as ICUs come dangerously close to exceeding capacity. The province reported 11 new deaths and 327 new cases today. And CBC News has learned Ontario will unveil a new pandemic plan next week. A senior government official says the province will put an end to capacity limits where proof of vaccination is required. That includes restaurants, bars, and gyms. That change comes after arenas were allowed to go to full capacity in time for tonight's NHL season opener. The plan will also indicate when that vaccine passport system will be optional.
An entire Canadian capital city is without any clean tap water again tonight. We first told you about the contaminated water supply in Iqaluit last night. But today, as Jackie McKay shows us, there is no sense of when the crisis could end.
The Sylvia Grinnell River is Iqaluit's safest water source right now.
Getting fresh water because we were told not to drink the water, tap water at home, and it does smell like diesel.
Dinos Tikovic was among the people gathering water at the river's edge. Others lined up at trucks filled with river water in the city's center. Both sources need to be boiled for 1 minute, according to public health. Drastic measures, all because the city's tap water might be tainted with fuel. Pregnant women and infants are being told they shouldn't even bathe in it.
My wife's breastfeeding, so she's been consuming this water for a couple weeks now, and we were told it was safe until yesterday, so it's kind of frustrating.
On social media, people have been complaining the tap water smells like fuel for more than a week. The city did tests, but the mayor says they kept missing the problem.
You know, I'm also frustrated. I was out there saying that the water is fine. All of our tests indicated that it was fine, and you know, of course, I trust science. You know, I don't actually go out there and test it. People were coming with results saying, you know, it's coming out clean.
But then this week, Public Works staff opened a tank at the water treatment plant and noticed a strong petroleum smell. That prompted their emergency. That water has been sent for testing out of territory. This expert says figuring out the source of the problem and the risk will take time.
Petroleum compounds are made of hundreds and sometimes thousands of different chemicals. So it's very difficult, and usually you need specialized labs to actually look for specific compounds.
Meanwhile, local stores are running out of bottled water, and some residents are paying as much as $40 a case.
Having our stores provide water is not a great function for us because it's so expensive.
The government of Nunavut is flying in 80,000 liters of water, while the territory waits until next week for those test results to come back. Jackie McKay, CBC News, Iqaluit.
New revelations emerging from Canada's military tonight. The man tapped to lead the army is under investigation. Travis Danraj now with what this latest controversy means for the Canadian Armed Forces.
Brigadier General Trevor John Cadieux.
He was set to lead the Canadian Army. Now, Lieutenant General Trevor Cadieux is being investigated by military police. The military says Acting Chief of Defense Staff General Wayne Eyre was notified about an investigation into Cadieux on September 5th, just before Cadieux was supposed to be sworn into one of the military's top jobs. In a statement, the Department of Defense says it acted right away. The same day, the previously planned change of command ceremony was to be postponed to allow a Canadian Forces National Investigation Service investigation to run its course. But the postponement of the ceremony is not an indictment of Lieutenant General Trevor Cadieux. The Ottawa Citizen was first to report the investigation, saying the allegations are sexual in nature. Cadieux denies any wrongdoing, saying, quote, "The allegations are false, but they must be investigated thoroughly to expose the truth." He says he's cooperating with investigators and has asked the military to replace him with someone else. Quote, "Canadian Army soldiers deserve a leader who is unencumbered by allegations." Cadieux is the latest top military leader to face allegations. Difficult headlines for military women who have reported sexual misconduct. Dawn McElmoyle made headlines herself when she says she was assaulted in the military in the 90s.
It's like being re-traumatized again because you can't, when are they going to get their act together? Like, when am I not going to see it in the news on a constant basis?
Just a week ago, the Prime Minister had tough words for the military.
Despite the work that we've done, the military still doesn't get that survivors need to be at the center and the unique priority of everything in regards to sexual misconduct and harassment in the military. And this shows they simply still don't get it.
So Travis, as you say, tough words from the Prime Minister last week. What is Ottawa saying about today's developments?
Hey there, good evening to you, Adrian. Well, we reached out to Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan's office for comment, and we received a very short statement saying he was made aware of the investigation on September 5th, and it would be inappropriate for him to comment. Now, this comes as the Prime Minister contemplates the makeup of his new cabinet, set to be announced later this month, and it also comes as critics call for Sajjan to be replaced. Adrian?
All right. Thank you, Travis. Travis Danraj in Ottawa tonight.
The Prime Minister made promises early in the pandemic that COVID-19 vaccines would be produced here. Of course, we know now that Canada would wind up importing all of its vaccines. And as you'll see, Bob McEwen and the team at the Fifth Estate have found that an early deal Ottawa made with a Chinese company might have set the effort back months.
Bonjour tout le monde. Just 2 weeks after the pandemic was declared, the Prime Minister unveiled his plan to protect Canadians from the coronavirus.
Today, I can announce that we're providing $192 million to directly support vaccine development and production in Canada.
Not prepared at all.
Top vaccinologists say there simply was nowhere to mass produce a Canadian vaccine.
That was one of the initial priorities as soon as the pandemic was declared, but you can't make those manufacturing facilities overnight.
Behind the scenes, there was a scramble to find a viable vaccine formula to combat the COVID-19 virus.
We need all hands on deck.
And where did the Trudeau government turn first for a partner for its domestic vaccine? Tianjin, China, headquarters of a vaccine company called CanSino, whose partner was none other than the scientific arm of China's military.
I don't think we should be collaborating with any entity that is affiliated with China's military. I think that is a clear and serious threat to our national security.
But the vaccine never made it to Canada, held up, according to Chinese officials, for customs reasons at Beijing Airport. It now seems clear the Canadian COVID vaccine was caught up in rising political tensions. The arrest in Vancouver of a Chinese tech executive and the arbitrary detention in China of 2 Canadians. Critics say the delays with CanSino came at considerable cost to Canadians.
I don't think you're going to see domestic production of vaccines in Canada till 2022, when we could have been producing probably in late 2020. So that's 18 months, maybe 2 years, that we could have been producing vaccines in this country. And when you're in a global pandemic that is deadly, that costs lives.
For months, we've attempted to ask the Prime Minister, his cabinet, and the National Research Council about the CanSino vaccine deal. All have declined to speak on camera. Bob McEwen, CBC News, Toronto.
And you can see Bob's full report tomorrow night on the season premiere of The Fifth Estate. That's at 9 p.m., 9:30 in Newfoundland on CBC Television and CBC Gem.
Canadian actor William Shatner has taken on many roles in his career, but today's was a first, that of a real astronaut.
Yeah, he was on board a rocket ship for a quick trip to the edge of Earth's atmosphere, had a very short time to take it all in, with billionaire Jeff Bezos waiting to greet him back on the ground. Eli Glasner takes us along for the ride.
In a Texas field, the day finally arrived.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to launch this rocket.
Shatner and 3 other crew members lifting off. After weeks of anticipation, the short rocket ride for a few minutes in microgravity seemed almost anticlimactic. This aerospace expert says that's kind of the point.
It's all part of the technologies becoming more mainstream. It's not mainstream yet, but it's getting there. And this is showing the world that increasingly more and more people can do this.
But what got Shatner his ticket to ride was his role as James T. Kirk.
Risk is our business. That's what the Starship is all about.
Elon Musk is winning the wealth war, but Bezos is definitely winning the PR war.
This PR pro says the casting was brilliant.
When you think about William, you think about Star Trek, all of that put together, and he is beloved by Canadians, but I would say by so many, because he's 90 years old and he, behaves in many ways like he's 40. He's unstoppable.
Space researcher Sogan Talebi is one of many who credits Captain Kirk with her career path.
So when they start with, space, the final frontier, the show is going to explore inspiration, exploration, and then discovery.
But this morning's mission had another aspect for Blue Origin founder Jeff Bezos.
William Shatner's 90 years old, so to bring someone that's 90 up in space, what it ticked off is that this is truly a safe mission.
For all his showbiz bluster when Shatner returned, he seemed humbled.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion.
A real-world reflection from the captain who inspired so many. Eli Glasner, CBC News, Toronto.
So there you have it, the model of composure, pretty clearly feeling a lot of feelings after that trip. We wanted to play a bit more for you of what he had to say in his first moments after landing.
But to see the blue cover go whoop by, and now you're staring into blackness. That's the thing. The covering of blue, this sheet, this blanket, this comforter of blue that we have around it. We think, oh, that's blue sky. And then suddenly you shoot through it all of a sudden, as though you whip off a sheet off you when you're asleep, and you're looking into blackness, into black ugliness. And you look down, and there's the blue down there, and the black up there, and it's just, there is Mother and Earth and comfort, and is there death? I don't know. Is that death? Is that the way death is? Whoop, and it's gone. Jesus. It was so moving to me.
Now, to understand the science behind that poetry, we are going to hear from Bob McDonald, host of Quirks and Quarks, a little bit later.
Before that, a conversation with Hillary Clinton. I want to thank you for this book. It has stressed me out for several days.
I love that that's your reaction.
From Secretary of State to novelist, with some help from a Canadian friend and a little real-life inspiration. How cathartic was that? Did it save you about a year's worth of therapy?
Also, the controversial return of the British beaver.
Beavers are ingenious animals, although I'd rather their ingeniousness was not done here.
And a high-stakes move in Newfoundland.
Some parts were just too hard to watch because I thought it was sinking.
The moment she thought her dream house could go under. We're back in 2. A man armed with a bow and arrow killed 5 people and injured 2 in Norway, about an hour west of Oslo. It is the worst death toll of any attack in Norway since the 2011 shooting and bombing that killed 77 people. Police have arrested the suspect, who they believe acted alone. The motive remains unclear. That was Hurricane Pamela making landfall in Mexico today, slamming this resort town before being downgraded to a tropical depression. The storm is expected to move to the U.S. and bring heavy rain to Texas and Oklahoma.
Europe's gas crisis has seen shortages and a doubling of prices at the pumps. But at an international energy summit today, Russian President Vladimir Putin pushed back against accusations that his country is making the crunch worse. Briar Stewart takes us through the petrol politicking.
This international conference is about the global energy industry, but Russia's gas sector is in the spotlight because it's being accused of playing politics with its gas exports to Europe just ahead of the winter. President Vladimir Putin, though, said that isn't the case. Moscow, he said, isn't responsible for causing Europe's gas crisis. They should not lay one's own faults at someone else's door, he said, taking a jab at European officials who say Russia is exacerbating the gas supply crunch by not exporting more fuel than what's already been committed in long-term contracts. However, Putin did say Moscow would send more gas to Europe if asked. But this seems to be the quid pro quo. Russia's newly built 1,200-kilometer-long pipeline called Nord Stream 2. It's slated to carry gas from Russia to Germany, but it can't start operating until it gets approved by the German regulator.
As soon as it starts, in full, definitely it will make a difference in the European gas market.
Europe already gets 40% of its gas from Russia, and EU officials say they will be investigating any anti-competitive behavior.
The EU will have a zero-tolerance policy on any market manipulation or speculation.
This energy analyst says the ongoing rift is much larger than just Nord Stream 2. Instead, it's about Europe's plan to reduce its dependence on gas and oil.
Russia very soon is going to be deprived of its revenues from export of those fossil energy sources, and they are resisting. And not only resisting, but going into some sort of an offensive.
Putin denies using the gas supply as a political weapon. Instead, he says Europe should ensure it has a predictable supply of energy. Briar Stewart, CBC News, Moscow.
Former U.S. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton is now a fiction writer. When we spoke earlier, I had to ask what Bill thought of her new political thriller. How did you break it to him that the husband of the Secretary of State has been killed off? We'll talk about that and how she drew inspiration from the last U.S. president. Next. Welcome back. Of all the pandemic projects out there, one released this week is making headlines. A Canadian and a really prominent American have teamed up to give readers a pretty good scare. It's up to us to make sure its plot stays fictional. Those are the not-so-subtle last words of the afterword of the novel State of Terror, from former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and the former CBC journalist and extraordinary crime novelist Louise Penny. Mutual fans, then friends, now co-authors. The plot, born of a question to Clinton: what was your worst nightmare as Secretary of State? What happens when the moves of a reckless president let terrorists get a hold of nuclear weapons? But let's not spoil the story. I sat down to talk with Louise Penny and Hillary Clinton about the fiction and the facts behind it. Louise, nice to see you. I was just checking the law in Canada. I think we have to refer to you as Your Highness now. I'm not sure. Is that right?
Yeah, and then in a little while, I hope it'll be Empress.
Empress. Okay. What an honor to speak to you both.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for this book. It has stressed me out for several days.
I love that that's your reaction. I mean, we wanted it to be fun and a really exciting story with memorable characters. So I'm glad you're enjoying it.
I'm wondering, Secretary Clinton, if you can you set the scene for me? The first time you picked up a Louise Penny book and what it did for you.
This book is really rooted and about friendships, and one of the key relationships is with the woman who was my best friend since 6th grade. And of course, every time I was in Chicago, Betsy was with me, and she started telling me about this new author that she had discovered named Louise Penny. So I started with Still Life, the very first, and then just kept going. And lucky for us, Louise's publisher read an interview with Betsy in 2016 in which she talked about how much we both loved Louise Penny. So one thing led to the other.
But I immediately bonded to her, and we became very close very fast, which is very rare for me, I must say.
So Louise is now friends with this whole group of people that Betsy and I went to high school with and have known, forever. And it's such a joy, and part of what inspired our character called Betsy.
And the bond that Ellen, the Secretary of State, the main character, has with her counselor Betsy, as you said, it's meant to be a thrill, and it is a thriller. It's got action, it's got adventure, it's got explosions.
Yes, it does.
There are a lot of bodies all over the world in this book.
Right out of the gate too, right? But the other thing that was so much fun is that we don't rely on explosions. We felt very strongly that we really wanted deep characters. We wanted people that you could relate to, that you could believe in.
I wonder at what point, Secretary Clinton, did your husband try to get in there? I mean, was he trying to to make suggestions along the way at all, or did you have to lock him out of the room?
We wrote really the whole first draft before I ever showed it to him, because he is a connoisseur of political thrillers, and I did not want to be influenced too early.
How did you break it to him that the husband of the Secretary of State has been killed off?
I don't think that ever came up, because as I recall in the book he wrote with Patterson, The President is Missing, the wife of the president also died. So I figured,
Okay, turnabout is fair play, always. When you have a reckless, alt-right supporting Palm Beach dwelling man who poisoned relationships around the world and pulled out of the Iran deal, who is the character of the former president, like where on earth does that come from?
Go figure, right?
I don't know. I mean, really.
Oh, Hillary?
It is obviously a fair question. As we watched our former president do everything you just said and cause a lot of damage, it was a wake-up call that, we could have somebody in the Oval Office who was manipulated by outside forces, who was also under the sway of what I would refer to as domestic enemies. So although it is not him, certainly the characteristics that we saw displayed for 4 years informed our discussions.
There's also this moment where the Secretary of State goes after President Ivanov in Russia and gives him a piece of her mind. And I wonder, what does it feel like for you, Secretary Clinton, to write that? Like, how cathartic was that? Did it save you about a year's worth of therapy writing this out?
Your questions are so astute, Adrienne. I really appreciate them, because there's no doubt that our fictional Russian president is a bad actor, a manipulator, always trying to undermine democracies, always trying to throw, big wrenches into the institutions of places like the United States, but not only there. So yeah, it was cathartic because, you know, somebody like that poses a continuing danger, and we didn't want people to forget that.
You know, the other thing that's so interesting was that we started writing this a year and a half ago, discussing it a year and a half ago, before the Afghan pullout, before all of this.
Before the election. We didn't
Before
know.
the election, she foresaw every step that has happened along the way. The pullout, the chaos, the Taliban coming in, Al-Qaeda coming in with the Taliban. And we just hope and pray that the last element that we've written about remains fiction.
Of all of the geopolitical messages in here, I feel as a reader and as a woman of a certain age on television, that there is a message in here to women about being underestimated and I guess being judged and being humiliated and then rolling up your sleeves and showing them what you can do. Did you ever feel like that, Secretary Clinton?
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the whole point of making our protagonists, the heroes of this story, two women of a certain age who, yes, have to use their wits, have to be resilient, have to keep going through not just being underestimated, but as you rightly say, being belittled. And it is meant to be a message, I think, first of all, to ourselves, as Louise and I worked on this, but also more generally, as you rightly point out, women have to own our own power.
We won't be defined by anyone. We get to define ourselves. We've all felt diminished and belittled, but we've gotten up and done it anyway.
Well,
I mean, there are a lot of people, obviously, who didn't believe we could do this. And, no, and we're hoping we'll fail. Well, bring it on.
Well, stuff them.
Stuff them if they can't take a joke.
Exactly. Listen, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to talk to us.
And great to talk with you. Thanks for a wonderful interview.
Yeah.
Well, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.
Well, clearly they get along, and
Totally.
and they were having a good time. I mean, even as they're imagining these kinds of nightmare scenarios.
Yeah, and some of the scenarios are not so far-fetched. I mean, part of what we talked about was Clinton's worry about who props up the Taliban. Where does that regime head? The potential destruction to democracy of disinformation campaigns. So, you know, as always, she has a lot to say. If I was a betting woman, I am a betting woman, I would say that there's a good chance this is not the last book from these two.
Okay, we're gonna have to play some poker sometime.
Oh, let's do it.
Up next on The National, why the return of the beaver in Britain is such a big deal, but also controversial. First though, the word icon gets thrown around a lot. It's certainly been used before to describe late great Canadian actor Christopher Plummer, but today he literally became an icon. His image unveiled today on a Canada Post commemorative stamp, featuring some of his many roles.
The more you act, the more you find out about yourself as a person.
His career spanned decades. But no matter how big he got on screen, he always came back to the Canadian stage. And the significance of appearing on a Canadian stamp would not have been lost on him. Before his death earlier this year, he was consulted throughout the process.
To be given this stamp was the greatest honor you could wish for, being a Canadian, and he thanks you very much.
Beavers that have not been seen on some rivers since Tudor times, massacred for their pelts and now back. And if that isn't conservatism, my friends, I don't know what is. Build back beaver, I say.
Well, that would be the British Prime Minister taking credit for that country's reintroduction of the beaver. So in Canada, of course, the beaver is an abundant national treasure. But in Britain, its return is part of a government policy known as rewilding, essentially repairing damaged ecosystems. Yet there are some out there who are not embracing the busy rodent, because that is the problem. The beaver is busy. Chris Brown explains.
For those who've gathered on the shore of this English pond, it's like being an eyewitness to the rebirth of a species. Two beavers, a male and a female, are getting a new home in a place that hasn't seen a beaver in a very long time.
It's all new for them.
but we'll give them time to adjust. But I think they'll be very happy here. This is why in Britain we're really excited to bring this species back.
Beavers in Britain were hunted to extinction in the Middle Ages more than 500 years ago. But thanks to conservationists who've pushed to change laws and get government backing, they're slowly on the rebound.
I think there's still a nervousness about seeing this species widely released everywhere. So these projects will demonstrate to people what beavers do and don't do. I'd say we've not seen this species for several hundred years. So there's lots of rumours, there's lots of suspicion, there's lots of misinformation.
Arguably more than anyone, Roisin Campbell-Plummer is responsible for Britain's beaver resurgence. Some people even call her Britain's beaver lady.
I'm coming up to my 13th year of working directly with beavers, so this is, to me, the highlight of my work.
She started these beavers on their journey by trapping them in Scotland. That's where most of the UK's beavers are found now. She teamed up with a Norfolk environmental group whose members worked for 8 years to find a home and get permits so the beavers could be released here. For Jonah Tosney, seeing them was the culmination of a lifetime's work.
Massively excited, actually, yeah. It's the biggest thing I've done in my career. Every native Norfolk species you can imagine that's associated with wetlands or ponds, they absolutely thrive when beavers arrive.
Scotland still only has roughly 1,000 beavers across the entire countryside, so it's not like it has that many to send to England. But even that relatively small number has proven extremely controversial. The return of the beaver to Britain has become a gnawing problem for farmers.
Do I like beavers? Beavers are ingenious animals, although I'd rather their ingeniousness was not done here.
Adrian Ivory farms near Perth, and he's had lots of run-ins with beavers and their tree-chewing, dam-building ways.
And we've had dams, I'm 6 foot, and I've had them way above my head, and the only way we can get them out is with a digger, and I have to pay for that expense.
Ivory showed us how beaver activity along a creek has ruined his fences, caused soil erosion, and flooded crops. So when you say 7 acres got flooded out, just to be clear, you already had the seeds in the ground?
Yeah, we'd already sown the crop, it had already been ploughed, drilled, rolled, seed was coming through, so all that expense had already been incurred, and then it was completely gone, rotted out.
In Scotland, beavers are listed as a protected species, but farmers still got government-issued permits to kill at least 70 nuisance beavers last year. That triggered a lawsuit and has aroused the passions of beaver defenders, who believe a species that's recovering must be preserved, not killed. And there may be no place more passionate about the beaver than the Scottish town of Alyth.
The beaver experience this evening is we'll see this wonderful beaver wetland, we'll look at the dams.
Ecologist Daniel Muir has a booming ecotourism business, taking people out to see beavers in the wild.
You know, you can see where they've chewed off the branches.
These so-called beaver safaris are meant to show that wherever beavers move in, new plants and animals follow.
That's the beavers, you know, providing homes for lots of wee beasties.
Here, as in most parts of the UK, there is little true wilderness. Most of the land is carefully organized and managed, and beavers mess it up, which is at the root of the tension.
All these farmers on the Ericht and the Isle and the Tay have got these licenses to kill them, and you know, these animals, you don't know if they're going to manage to survive. And I just think it's a shame that, well, first of all, that we don't carry out lots of mitigation measures so that humans and beavers can live alongside each other in harmony. And if beavers are to be relocated, I would love them to be relocated here in Scotland.
On the farm, Adrian Ivory says he prefers to trap rather than kill beavers and move them to places where they're wanted. But he knows not all farmers have the patience for that.
What's the solution? You know, that some people say extermination and some people say, they can't be touched. My belief is it's somewhere in the middle. We as farmers need to learn to live with them, although we have to have the tools in our armory to be able to take dams down and stuff like that to mitigate our losses.
The reintroduction of beavers to Britain has been an ecological success. In just a decade or so, the beavers have quickly adapted. It may take the people who live around them a lot longer to adapt to them. Chris Brown, CBC News in Norfolk, England.
That is quite the story. Okay, next on The National, another one, that historic space voyage for TV's Captain Kirk.
What you have given me is the most profound experience I can imagine. I'm so filled with emotion about what just happened.
We are going to get some of the science behind what William Shatner felt today from Bob McDonald, host of Quirks and Quarks, right after the break.
It was so moving to me. This experience has been something unbelievable.
Yeah, well, that was Canadian actor William Shatner getting pretty emotional, describing what it was like to be in space, even if it was just for a few minutes. And of course, at 90 years old, he's officially the oldest person to go to space. So let's talk about this mission with someone we all know very well, Bob McDonald, the host of CBC's Quirks and Quarks. Bob, I won't lie, my only real thought during liftoff was, I hope he's okay, because that's supposed to be a really punishing part of the trip, right? Has that changed a lot over the years?
It has, Andrew, and I was worried about exactly the same thing this morning. You know, is his heart going to be all right? Because they got the G-forces of liftoff coming down under parachutes hitting the ground. But the Blue Origin rocket is actually a fairly gentle ride because as rockets go, it doesn't go as high as going up to the International Space Station, and it doesn't have to go as fast because it doesn't need to get into orbit. So it's actually a fairly gentle one-stage ride all the way up to the top. You float over the top weightless, and then you just gently float back down again. So as it turned out, despite your and I worries, it wasn't his body that was undergoing the profound change. It was his mind about what he saw looking out the window.
Yeah, well, and on that point, I mean, he kept talking about how it was like, how did he describe it? Like pulling a blue blanket off of his head, right? I hadn't heard anyone describe it quite that way before. What did you think when you heard that?
Well, he was surprised how quickly they punched through the atmosphere because as they looked out the window, the sky turned from blue to black. And even the sun was still up in a black sky. And he was astounded at how thin our atmosphere is. Because the Earth's atmosphere, if the Earth was an apple, the atmosphere would be the skin. That's how thin it is. And he saw that for real and realized that's it. That's where we live. And looking out into the blackness of space and knowing how far that goes and how deadly it is, he saw life and death. He saw the living Earth in a very large, deadly universe. And it just really made him appreciate how special the Earth actually is. And it was overwhelming. I've never seen somebody come back from space and burst into tears. It was a powerful experience.
Bob, very quickly, what's your bottom line here? How relevant a trip we should look at what happened today as being?
Well, it's space tourism, and my hope is that enough people will do this, the price will come down so that you and I can go up, Andrew, and get a real appreciation from Earth. The more environmentalists, the better.
Someday. Bob, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andrew.
Now, earlier this year, Shatner spoke with Ian about turning 90 and his legacy beyond Star Trek. You can watch that interview on our YouTube channel. We'll be right back with tonight's moment.
Well, that would be Danielle Penny's dream home floating across the Bay of Islands in Newfoundland. Do not worry, this was all on purpose. When Danielle found out the original owner was going to tear the home down, she bought the house to move it. Trouble is, there were power lines in the way, so she took a different route, and that led to some nail-biting moments for her and our moment tonight.
I watched in parts because some parts were just too hard to watch because I thought it was sinking. I guess we didn't have enough dories there at one point, and it started to tip and take on the water. I thought at one point that the house is gone. We're never going to get it back. I turned around. I had to face the mountains because I said, I just somebody give me a play-by-play so I don't watch my house go underwater. We had that structure up underneath, and we attached 28 barrels, like drums, to the bottom of it, and we put it in the water. The barrels had to be attached to the floor of the home. So the holes that was in the floor drained the water right out. And I was over there maybe an hour ago and it was completely dry. We're going to be in it by Christmas. That is our plan. And we're just going to make it our home for now.
So the headline is completely dry. And earlier today, when we were talking about doing this as the moment, I looked at the pictures, hadn't heard what she said, and I thought, this thing's going down. Like, I want to know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, she seemed convinced that was going to be the case. I just don't understand what even the genesis of this idea was. I mean, does either she or her partner say, you know what, I have an idea, hear me out.
Yeah.
It involves, you know, it just seems so wild. Mind blown.
It worked.
It did. That's the National for this October 13th. Have a great night.
Good night.